Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, wherever you are. I'm currently actually on the East Coast, which is why I said good evening. Hello and welcome to Nest Flight 2022. If you have had the joy of being in this space before, you'll know that this is not my first time here in the Nest Flight community and family. This is actually my third year emceeing this conference, and I am thrilled to be here once again. For those of you who are joining us for the first time ever, and this is your first ever Nest Flight, welcome, and you are in for such a treat. I'm currently in Boston, Massachusetts. That's where I now live. And I would love to kind of see where you all are from. I saw a couple of folks from Watsonville, Salinas, somebody even in Seattle. So please go ahead and keep letting us know where you're joining us from. With that, I want to continue to say again, welcome to all of you. And I wanted to share a little bit more about my connection to Nest Flight and who the heck I am, and so you all can get to know me a little better. So as I mentioned earlier, I have been part of this beautiful Nest Flight family since the beginning. I was there in that first year when we first met in person down in Watsonville, and I have continued to be a part of this community through its multiple iterations, both in person and online. For the past, I don't know, maybe 5.5 years, I worked for an amazing organization called Latino Community Foundation. And they're a statewide foundation in California that invests in grassroots nonprofits that support the Latinx community. And that's actually how I got to know Digital Nest, the amazing organization behind Nest Flight. So shout out to the folks that I already saw in the room, like Jacob, Sandy, all of you that are there. Congratulations again for a wonderful, wonderful experience. You'll see these folks with the Zoom background there that says Digital Nest staff, ask them questions. So don't be shy. Don't forget to ask them questions. They are there to support you along the way. I absolutely fell in love with Digital Nest and have been really fortunate that they like me enough to keep inviting me back to this amazing space. I want to make sure that you all know that this time is really about you, and Nest Flight really does help your career take flight in a lot of amazing and wonderful ways. And I can tell you that even as an MC, that has been a reality for me. I have had the opportunity to introduce such amazing young people, leaders in the community, seasoned folks within the tech space. Last year, I had the opportunity to have a fireside chat with Reed Hastings, and I got a really cool connection with Netflix because of that. I was also literally an hour ago, I met up for dinner with our keynote speaker from last year, Lily Gangas, who is the Chief Technology Officer at the Capeware Center. I think this is also just an encouragement for all of you all to continue to use this space and build this network. You have no idea who's in the little Zoom box right next to you. Your network is going to be your most powerful tool throughout this conference and beyond. So don't forget to connect with us. Reach out to us on LinkedIn, reach out to the folks that you click with in the chat and just be like, hey, let's connect outside of this. So that is my call to action for all of you. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Amber Gonzalez Vargas, and while I am living currently in Boston, I was actually born and raised in California. I grew up in the Central Valley in the city of Stockton. My parents are still there. My brother is still there. All of my family is still there. And growing up in the Central Valley, and I saw many of you are in the Central Coast, has been a very, very formative part of my life. I did undergrad at UC Berkeley and really wanted to support the community, specifically the Latinx community, in a way that I honestly didn't know how. And I'm so thankful for finding LCF, the Latino Community Foundation, for helping guide my career. Today, I'm actually a student at MIT. I am doing my MBA at MIT Sloan. And I really credit a lot of the connections that I made with the foundation and also in spaces like Nest Flight that have really helped me get here. I'm also an incoming dual degree student at the Harvard Kennedy School. I'll be doing my master's in public affairs. And I'm sharing all of this because I am a first generation Latina whose family really we are living, I keep calling it living beyond the dream. Once I graduated undergrad and got a job, I completed my parents' American dream in the most beautiful way possible. And now I'm living beyond that. And I feel so grateful. And really, it's been because of spaces like this one, like Nest Flight, that I have been able to be here. Nest Flight is all about helping you along your career path, whatever that may be, and whatever career path that is. It really is here to inspire you to dream big and reach and dream beyond that dream that you had initially set for yourself. Literally anything is possible. All of the content that we have brought together for you all over the next 2 days is really meant to inspire you and to help you be on the path to really reach whatever your future goals may be. And so with that, you got to know me a little bit better, and we want to make sure that we're getting to know all of you that are on and off screen. So we're going to do a quick survey with all of the youth that we have here today. So we are asking all of you if you can support us with this, and please indulge us. You see now that we are sharing the screen for something called menti.com. So if you all can please go either on your phones, your computers, your tablets, whatever you're on, go to www.menti.com and use the code that's there at the top. And please go ahead and answer that question that's there, and the answers will begin to populate for us as you answer. So what is your dream job? And I encourage all of you, as you're thinking about this, what is that one thing that maybe feels unattainable or that you're reaching for right now? You're working really hard towards it. What is that dream job that you all are looking for? And again, that's at www.menti.com, and you use the code 23428489. So I'm seeing some answers come through: entrepreneur, software developer, software engineer, artist, marine biologist, product manager, UX designer, UX researcher. Fantastic. And if you all haven't used this software, this system before, usually as more people answer one specific answer, that name will get bigger. So we're seeing that specifically come out through, like with software engineer. My dream job, in case anyone's curious, was actually to be a talk show host. So I find different ways that I can live out my dream in my real life. And this is really my dream coming true, is being able to do things like this one. Awesome. I'm seeing some really cool jobs: photographer, strategist, marketing psychologist, researcher. Fantastic. Well, that is so amazing. I love how big everyone is dreaming. That's amazing. Thank you all so much for sharing. If you find yourself in a room or even in the chat and someone's like, oh, I want to do that too. Again, this is my support, my push for you all to continue to connect with each other. Okay, now, an event like this one takes a lot of hard work. I've already identified some of the staff that we have here. So again, thank you to our amazing team, staff. Catherine, I didn't call you out earlier. Just want to make sure that we're really thanking all of the amazing people that help put this on together. So if you find yourself in a Zoom room with our staff, please make sure to give them a thank you. And of course, we want to make sure that we are also acknowledging our mentors and of course, our sponsors and supporters for this event. So we want to make sure that we're thanking our sponsors for the 22 conference: Amazon Web Services, being a part of our partner sponsors. We also have Cabrillo College, GitHub, Google, Hartnell College. We've got many others like LinkedIn, Bank of America, Driscoll's, Workforce Santa Cruz County, Comcast, and of course, our advocate sponsors, which are UC Santa Cruz, the Basket Engineering Department, Zoom, Atlassian, Logitech, and Habu. These are all the amazing people. Oh, and of course, I'm missing the California State University, Monterey Bay College of Scientists, Parallel Flight Technologies, Santa Cruz County Office of Education, and First Capital Bank. Awesome. Thanks to the support for you all. We are so grateful for your support to all of our amazing sponsors. Please give a round of applause. I know it's harder, so maybe you all are off screen. You can do this. You can also do a little clapping emoji like Sandy did, whatever you feel comfortable with. So yes, thank you so much for our amazing sponsors for really helping us host another year of Nest Flight. We could not have done it without you. I wouldn't be a good MC if I wasn't encouraging you all to make sure that you're sharing this experience as much as possible. So if you'll take a moment, because I know some of you are in rooms somewhere together watching this, which is awesome. Or if you're at home with your cat or your dog, or you're just alone in your PJs, whatever your nest flight experience looks like today, I'm going to encourage you right now, if you can join me, and I'll do this with you so you're not alone. Take out your phone, turn on your camera, and if you just grab it, we'll do a selfie. We can do it together if you want. Do a selfie. And please go ahead here. Let's just take it. I'll take a moment so we can take the photo together. So take a selfie with yourself, with your cat, wherever in your room. I'm currently in my bedroom, so just take a little snap there. Fantastic. So now with that photo, what I want you to do is go on your LinkedIn, on your Instagram, whatever social media platform that you can tag us on, and please use the hashtag NestFlight and hashtag Take Flight. You can also tag NestFlightCon so that we can reshare that. That would be fantastic. So make sure that you tag us so we can share your beautiful faces. We can show all of our sponsors and community what an amazing attendee group that we had today. And first, you have an amazing treat that I can invite and introduce you all to Jacob Martinez, who is the CEO of Digital Nest and literally the reason why we are all here today. I met Jacob in my first year at LCF back in 2016 when Digital Nest was just 2 years old. They were still a little toddler. And now they have also taken flight into an amazing organization that is really having great impact, not just in the regions that they're located in, but they are setting a model for the rest of the state and the country on what it means like to provide opportunities for people like me, for people like you that are in this space. So everybody, please help me in giving a virtual round of applause, whether you're clapping in your room or showing on the screen or just saying, welcome, Jacob, in the chat. Welcome, Jacob. We're so excited to have you help us kick off tonight.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Amber, it's so awesome to see you virtually. I can't wait to the day where I'm able to give you a hug in person. It's been too long, but thank you again for volunteering and jumping in here with us on this amazing journey. It's been years since we've been together, but I'm happy that we're in this virtual space together. And it's kind of exciting that we get to invite others from kind of distant areas to come and be with us. In the past, it was in Watsonville, and so it was tough. Some people just weren't able to make it. So excited to have you all here from wherever you're tuning in. It's a complete honor. As Amber mentioned, I'm the founder and CEO of Digital Nest, who's the host and the organization that's kind of powering Nest Flight. And so I wanted to share a little bit about Digital Nest, kind of explain to you what we do on a day-to-day basis and give you all kind of an inside look of how you could get involved with us. And so we are an organization in currently 2 communities, and we're opening up our third. We have some pop-up kind of activities happening in the third community, but we're physically in the communities of Watsonville and Salinas, which are just south of San Jose. Watsonville is a little southwest, along the coast there, Central Coast, and Salinas is just south of San Jose. So you can find our 2 spaces right in those downtowns. In Watsonville, we're right across from the plaza, an amazing space. Was actually the original Watsonville post office, so really cool historic building. And in Salinas, we have this amazing space. It's the old firehouse. And so you could come visit us Monday through Friday. Everything we do is always free. You come in and you can get tours of the space and hear about all the amazing programs we have at those locations. We design these spaces after the way Silicon Valley was designed their workplaces. And really that was the inspiration for the Digital Nest. Prior to the Nest, I was running programs in Watsonville and taking kids on field trips to places like Google and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and taking these kids to these amazing environments where kind of anything was possible. They had all the best technology and the best places to work and the coolest furniture and free food and just kind of an abundance. And really thinking to myself, like, what if we invested in our young people the way Silicon Valley invests in their employees? What if we put all these tools in the hands of young people, young professionals, and kind of let's see what they can create and what they could what was possible for them. And so we did just that. We launched Digital Nest in 2014 in Watsonville with this idea of creating a really innovative space and getting the best technology and the best environment, and also later on training and education. So you could actually take programs at the Nest, and you can actually work for us as well through a program we call BizNest. And so our three things that we train up on, just to give you all a little sneak peek, one is web and IT. So it's the traditional web design, coding, the traditional kind of techie stuff you think about when you hear tech. The second is digital arts and technology. So it's for all the creatives in the community, all the graphic designers, the videographers, the artists. So we really work with you on how do you make art your day job, and how can you get paid for doing what you love. And the third pathway is what we call people. It's focused on project management. They put on events throughout the year. They talk with the community and do surveys and research on what the community needs are. They develop projects to address those needs. So really there's something for every single one of you. And so definitely want to encourage you all to come visit one of our 2 centers. Soon to be 3. We're on the verge of kind of finding our home in Gilroy. So that's our 3rd location that we're at. And we do have pop-up activities in Gilroy though, so you could start getting involved there. But we're not stopping there. Our vision is to go grander than that, or to go to actually surround the Bay Area. You're going to hear some more about that later tonight, but really excited to have you all here with us. So from Digital Nest to Nest Flight, how did that happen? So one of the things that we heard from a lot of young professionals and college students is that they would go to conferences and not really sure how to navigate those spaces. How do you ask questions to presenters that have these amazing bios and amazing experiences? We've heard from youth say, do I belong in these environments? Do I belong in this space? And so we'll create Nest Flight just for that. It's for all of you. And it's for you to come experience a conference in a real safe space to raise your hand and ask questions, a safe space to mentor, to network with folks. And speaking of mentoring, I just dropped my LinkedIn address there, so you can connect with me on LinkedIn. That's what we want all of you to experience over the next couple of days. We want you to talk with each other. We want you to connect with the speakers, connect with the mentors. Don't be shy. Send your link to your LinkedIn, share your emails with them. Really create an opportunity for you to connect with each other and with professionals. Also, there's some internship and job opportunities available from our sponsors. And so, and throughout the conference, and there'll be other companies that will be sharing job opportunities as well. So we're going to drop a link in there for you to the website, the Nest Flight website, which has some of these amazing opportunities that you don't want to miss. So definitely check those 2 links out, one with the jobs and the second with the backgrounds. So yeah, those links just dropped into the chat. So all right, so you've heard enough from me. Let's get started. And the way we're going to kick off this event is with an exciting performance from a hip hop artist, 1 a.m. They will be performing 2 pieces for us to help us kind of kick off and bring lots of amazing energy to Nest Flight. And so with that, I'm happy to introduce our local artist, 1 a.m.
Hi everyone, can you guys hear me? Just want to do a quick mic check before I jump on. Once again, my name is 1 a.m. That's my artist name, but my real name is Cassidy. And a few fun facts about me is I am a recording engineer. I'm an artist. I am a digital designer. I wear a lot of different hats, and I've actually gone to school for communications and digital media and audio. So really excited to be a part of this and to share my experience. I prepared a few songs for you guys to bring you some inspiration. And this first one is called Live and Learn. Please feel free to let me know the audio, if it's too loud, if it's too low, just let me know and I'll adjust it, okay? Yeah. Hey. Yeah. The song is called Live and Learn. Yeah. till the lights burn out. I'ma be what I'm about. It's hard to get found if you're standing in the crowd. It's hard to speak your mind when everybody too loud. I've been losing all my patience every time I have to shout, but time to take a little time. I need to find peace of mind, but I'm doing fine. It's that reassurance when I'm coming up to knock, not believing what they're saying, call me something that I'm not. It's that confidence when everybody else around. It's that strength to stand up when people put you down. It's that crowd when they tell you not to quit. Keep making that sound because you do it so well till the lights burn out. Ay, till the lights burn out. Ay, till the lights burn out. I'ma be what I'm about, y'all. Till the lights burn out. Okay, till the lights burn out. Ay, till the lights burn out. Ay, till the lights burn out. I'ma be what I'm about, y'all. Tonight I put the pen down. I'm awake inside my dreams. I walk around in the same town, but everything ain't what it seems. See, I want to train my eyes so I can see the light, to see the truth for what it is and not accept the lies, to influence the youth. I want to change some lives, to stand tall for the right so I could calm the cries. Every day can make the distance, everyone can make a difference. The silence scream louder, you just got to stop and listen. It's the outcast who didn't fit the vision. It's the man in the system who put us in the vision, got the course set for us to crash and burn. People cut the line because they don't want to wait their turn, telling us to keep calm. We shouldn't be concerned because life is life. You just gotta live and learn. Yeah, hey, till the lights burn out. Hey, till the lights burn out. I'ma be what I'm about, y'all. Till the lights burn out. Okay, till the lights burn out. Hey, till the lights burn out. Hey, till the lights burn out. I'ma be what I'm about, y'all. Till the lights burn out. Yeah. That song is called Live and Learn. And it's important to live and to learn, especially when you are young, and to find your way in this life. And kind of ties into this next song. It's just called I Know. And the whole thing about this song is no matter what your struggles are, you are not alone in struggling in life. We're all struggling. We're all trying to find our way. So yes, the song is called I Know. Hey, hey, yeah, hey. Yeah, I said, I know what it feel like. Work the 9 to 5 and every night you don't feel right. Setting goals up, but you still don't feel accomplished. To say to follow your dreams, homie, nothing's promised. Mama said to make it happen. Figure out a way to manifest what you imagine. The world won't wait for you, so you gotta get to planning. I can't feel sorry for myself, cause I got a bigger passion. Put my stress aside, but I'm never at the finish line. There's so much to do, feeling like there's so little time. You gotta start somewhere, gotta put your best in. Every struggle is a lesson of your own life's progression. We all dealing with something, but don't let it stop you. Keep loving, keep growing, put them blessings on you. I know what it feel like to come from nothing. There's always gonna be something, but don't let it push your buttons. I know what it feel like, trying to live your life right. Nothing ever goes right. Ay, ay. I know what it feel like. Ay, ay. Trying to live your life right. Ay, ay. Nothing ever goes right. Ay, ay. The war is never over if you win or lose the battle. Stressing over losses is a necessary hassle. Every day's a new day, starting fresh with the fast emotion. Being grateful and adaptive, that's the magic potion. Easier said, sometimes it's never done. I get stuck in my ways and I got nowhere to run. It's a never ending battle between myself and all the world. Sometimes it's even worse, just the fact that I'm a girl. I guess it doesn't matter, maybe I'm just tripping, and the color of my skin shouldn't really block your vision, but it does. It was the stupid part of us playing God, but we not. Really, who are we to judge? Really, I'm just saying it's been causing up a buzz, and we see it in our feed, and we like it just because because it's a habit and it's branded hashtag and we pass it. I think there's something wrong with the whole dang planet. Yeah, so I know what it feel like. So I understand that you guys are not hearing the beats. So I'm so sorry for that. But I hope that the acapellas are all right for you guys. I've tried to work this thing out. But so yeah, that song is called I Know. And kind of going into this next one. Feeling alone. Sometimes you think that life is just the worst thing in the world sometimes, but there's certain moments in our life that, you know, that we're like, wow, this isn't so bad. And that's what this next one is about. So I'm gonna be playing the beat so I can hear, but I'm sorry I can't play it for you guys, but yeah. So this next one is gonna be called Ain't So Bad. Yeah, think about what I'm gonna say before I'm gonna say it. If these are my last words, I wouldn't save it. Life be giving me chances, I hope I could take it. I hope I could take it. I hope I can make it last. Take every moment, whether good or bad. Push forward on, no looking back. Except for the good times and all of my good finds. Treasures and gold and some of the hard grinds. Got me through the hard times. I came out stronger, this is who I'm supposed to be. Realizing that the only thing that's in my way is me. Feeling the air in my lungs. Sometimes it's harder to breathe, cause I've been holding on, wondering what's coming for me. I was feeling so down, felt to the place, searching for answers, questioning my faith, looking within, it caused my bend to the shape. I guess the change in the wind was all that I needed, cause all my hopes and dreams been feeling depleted, trapped in this earth, been trying to leave it, but maybe I think I'll stay, cause sometimes it ain't so bad with them days like today. Ay. No, it ain't so bad. 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 If the world ended, how did you spend your time? Is you chasing dollar signs or out here living life? Is you chasing pleasure or something you can measure? Did you give to other people or you take it as a lecture? I've been noticing it changed the world but acting strange. Am I tripping or you listen to the rules been set in place? I mean, everything be transacting through a screen, but maybe it's just me. It ain't how it used to be though. No, it ain't so bad. No, it ain't so bad. All right, so that was Ain't So Bad. I think I'll try to play it in my mic and see if that'll help. But so I have one more song for you guys, and the song is called Drive. And basically it's about following your dreams, and it's about, you know, no matter what happens, you just keep trying and you keep driving and you keep pushing forward to see, you know, what the end result is. So I'll play it out loud through my microphone and hopefully you guys can hear it, but but definitely I would encourage you guys to keep driving forward towards your dreams. Try different things and, you know, see if it works out. I had to try many different things in college. I had to change my major a few times actually, but in the end I ended up coming back to music, which I love, but I do use a lot of my skills, you know. I use a lot of my digital art skills, I use my promotion skills, you know, I use my communication skills. So yeah, hey, said as a child, wanna grow up, wanna be somebody, dreaming all day about the day you can show everybody how far you come, how far you travel down the road, how you ain't stopping till you're dying happy when you're old, with no regrets, you take it farther than before, pushing your limits till you passing past the top flow, stay inspired, don't let your dreams expire, you got the match, all you gotta do is light the fire. Hey, I'ma make it, I'ma do my thing, God only knows of the struggles that tomorrow brings. Take it day by day, I'ma find a way. Oh, don't you worry, I'ma make it, I'ma do my thing. Yeah, I'ma make it, I'ma do my thing. God only knows of the struggles that tomorrow brings. Take it day by day, I'ma find a way. Oh, don't you worry, I'ma make it, I'ma do my thing. It was worth it, believe me, you deserve it. Hard work pays off in discovering your purpose. All these beautiful people, yeah, they screaming out your name, singing out your lyrics. That feels better than the fame, better than the money, and it's better than the game. You made it past the struggle, it'll never be the same. Inspire the hopeless, bring them closer to God. People down to ride for you, yeah, we called it the squad, yeah. Break it down for the people who still working hard. The underrated underdogs, yeah, they set the bar. No one compares, there's always haters everywhere. Who got the power if you make them haters stop and stare? The undiscovered, the artists undercover. My life has just begun, I sit back at this and wonder, wow, will I make it? Yeah, I'ma make it, I'ma do my thing. God only knows of the struggles that tomorrow brings. Take it day by day, I'ma find a way. Oh, don't you worry, I'ma make it, I'ma do my thing. Yeah, I'ma make it, I'ma do my thing. God only knows of the struggles that tomorrow brings. Take it day by day, I'ma find a way. Oh, don't you worry, I'ma make it, I'ma do my thing. Yeah, moment of silence for belief. Let us chase our dreams. Yeah. Moment of silence for the break. No sleep, we dream awake. Yeah. Now check this out. I want you all to just close your eyes and focus on that one dream that you have. And I want you to tell yourself that you're gonna make it. I want you to tell yourself that you have that drive to make it happen, okay? Now, wherever you are, I want you to say it out loud. Say, I'ma make it, I'ma make it. Say, I'ma make it, I'ma make it. Say it, 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 yeah, I'ma make it, I'ma do my thing. God only knows of the struggles that tomorrow brings. Take it day by day, I'ma find a way. Oh, don't you worry, I'ma make it, I'ma do my thing. Yeah, I'ma make it, I'ma do my thing. God only knows of the struggles that tomorrow brings. Take it day by day, I'ma find a way. Oh, don't you worry, I'ma make it, I'ma do my thing. I'ma make it, I'ma make it. So that was called Drive. And I really hope that you guys really have that in your mind, that you're gonna make it no matter what you guys do. Continue to keep striving, stay inspired, stay positive. And that's pretty much all I have for you guys. Thank you guys for listening. I'm so sorry that the audio wasn't playing as I was performing, but thank you, Digital Nest, for having me. And I hope I'm good on time.
Oh my goodness, 1 a.m. That was amazing. I mean, I hope you're gonna at some point look at this chat and see all the love that you've been getting. Can I just ask quickly before you jump off?
Yeah.
How long have you been doing music?
I've been doing music since I was 16. So I think that's what, like 10 years, I want to say. Because I'm 27 now. Or maybe it's been a long time, but I've always continued, continue.
It was so good. Let me just say, like, now that we are in conversation, that was so good. Like for me, I don't have to tell anybody here in this room how difficult the last 2 years have been. I think being remote, being for many of us in isolations, many of us separated from loved ones. For me personally, something that I always go back to is the beauty of art.
Mm-hmm.
Art through activism, art through love, art through culture, art through whatever way that manifests in your life. And 1 a.m., you did a beautiful job, I think, of really setting the tone here for us today. So thank you so much. I think one of the things that you said in one of your songs was sometimes like you're the one that stops, you're the one that's your biggest, the biggest thing that's stopping you. And I think that really touched me as well. Let me tell you all, being in grad school, sometimes sometimes I am struggling. And so really your words were a source of inspiration for me. So thank you so much. And thank you again to everybody here that's in the space. Thank you for sharing your talent, your art, your heart with us today. And you all already saw this in the chat, but please go to that link you can support 1 a.m.'s work, learn a little bit more about the work that they're doing. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right, folks. So again, thank you. The power of people, the power of art, the power of community. That is what Nestlight continues to be about. So again, I hope that 1 a.m. helped you with that feeling of confidence that you can do anything that you set your mind to. You can make it. I was out there saying it with her. I can make it. I can make it. And I truly needed to hear those words. So I hope that was helpful for you as well. All right, folks. So today, for the opening fireside chat, you all are in a real treat. I have mentioned earlier to you all, again, I'm a first generation Latina. My parents are immigrants from Peru. I am California born and raised. I go hard for California. I go hard for Peru. I go hard for the Latinx community. I go hard for really communities of color and really trying to build access for everybody. Like the way that I think about my life is, how can I continue to build access and help people thrive in any space and in any way that they want to do so. And I can tell you genuinely and honestly that the folks that you're going to hear from today, it's the same thing. And I'm not saying that just because we're all from Stockton. I am not. I am saying that because I've had the chance to get to know our next two speakers over the course of my life in a beautiful way. And I'm really, really thrilled that you all will get to know them a little bit better today as well. So to start off, in this fireside chat, our first speaker today that you'll be hearing from is Lange Luntao. Lange Luntao is currently the Director of External Relations at the Ed Trust West. You can read a little bit about him here on the slide that's shown on the screen. Really, I think what's amazing about the work that Lange is doing is, again, like it says there, he's trying to drive high impact campaigns to achieve meaningful policy victories for students of color and students living in poverty. I think what you don't see beyond that is that Lange is a third generation public school teacher. He was born and raised in Stockton, California. He believes that students, educators, and community members all have a critical role to play in pursuing educational justice. And he works to equip all of these stakeholders with information and organizing opportunities needed to build policy making power. I mean, look at that. Even his Zoom background says #Stockton Strong. He's out there also going hard for the community. And I think beyond that, and what I'll share my connection piece here with Lange, I have known Lange since I was in the fifth grade. I have known Lange since I was in the fifth grade because his dad was my fifth grade teacher, Mr. Luntao. And I remember Mr. Luntao would talk about his son, Lange, who was a year older than I was. And he would talk about how amazing his son was and how smart his son was and how his son is going to go do amazing things. And he was not wrong. And I think his father is also a testament to the amazing person that Lange is. When I was in the fifth grade, I won an oral interpretation contest. And I remember I came back from the contest and Mr. Luntao came up to me and he was like, "That was fantastic, Amber. You know, if you ever ran for president, I would vote for you." And I was like, nobody had ever told me that before. Nobody that I had known outside of my family had really believed in me that much. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, okay. I was like, well, what do you have to do to become a president? And he's like, well, most presidents are lawyers. And I was like, okay, well, what do lawyers do? He's like, well, most of them major in political science. And I kid you not, your friend here, Amber, applied as a poli-sci major to all of the undergraduate institutions that she applied to. Now, my life eventually moved around in different directions, but that is the power of having somebody in your life believe in you, inspire you, and amplify you in a different way than nobody has ever done before. And that for me was a huge moment in my life. It was a changing moment in my life. And that was thanks to Lange's dad. I actually didn't meet Lange in person until I was about 20 years old, even though I've known about him since the fifth grade. But I think what's been beautiful is that our circles have constantly been mixing and being close to each other. And finally, when we were in our 20s was when we were finally able to connect with each other. So I am so excited for you all to hear about Lange today. And of course, our next speaker, Michael Tubbs, who Lange will, I think, also continue to illuminate a little bit more for all of you. Michael, for those of you that don't know, was elected as mayor of Stockton at just 26 years old. So 1 a.m., if you're still there, I believe you said you were 26, 27. So at your age, was elected as our city's first African-American mayor and the youngest mayor of any major city in American history, which is, again, a testament to all of you in this room that truly whatever you do and whatever you believe and whatever your dream is, it is possible. And do not ever let yourself step in the way and stop yourself from doing or believing that you can do anything. He raised over $20 million to create the Stockton Scholars Group, a universal scholarship and mentorship program for Stockton students, which if you are from areas from the Central Valley and the Central Coast, from communities like ours, you know how critical money is to go and actually pursue higher education. So many times people say nobody wants, that they don't want to go. It's not that we don't want to go. We don't always have the opportunity and the support to do so. And so Michael, both in his career and all the different spaces, has created opportunities for students like me, like him, like all of us in this room. He has done so many amazing things in life. He wrote a book. He married an amazing woman who also wrote a book, and really done such critical and amazing things. He's currently the founder and executive director of Ending Poverty in California, and really doubling down and ensuring that communities like the ones that most of us here in this room are living in are continuing to thrive and have opportunities just like anybody else. And now my fun connection with Michael is that we went to high school together, and that I have known Michael since I was a freshman. We were in theater together. We were in Mr. Matroni's class and we're partners for some sort of assignment once in my life. And he's also good friends with my fiance because they went to Stanford undergrad together. So again, to the point that I keep going back to everybody, you never know who you meet and what influence they're going to have in your life and what paths you will cross. I can tell you, when I was in the 5th grade and when I was 14 years old, I never knew I was going to be introducing Lange and Michael in a setting such as this one. And what a privilege to introduce two people from my hometown and to invite them into this beautiful space that we have created for you all today. So without further ado, I'm going to leave the stage so that you all can hear from my amazing friends a little bit more about, one, what makes them awesome, but also why they want to make sure that you also see yourself as amazing, inspiring, and influential, because you can too. So with that, and I'm seeing Jacob taking a picture. So Michael, Lange, maybe you want to smile really fast so we can, there you go, Jacob. Fantastic. Reminder for all of you to keep taking photos with us. Just because we're on the screen doesn't mean we're not smiling for you. So without further ado, please, Lange and Michael, you are welcome to take the stage. We're so happy and thrilled to have you here in the Nest Flight Room today.
Wow, Amber, that was so wonderful and such a special introduction. I learned a lot. Like, I've actually never heard that story about.
Why isn't Amber just doing this talk?
I know, right? Like, can you just stay on the stage and we can have Stockton reunion on this call. But I just want to say my dad is a typical Filipino dad, and he does not give compliments like that. So hearing that compliment that he gave to you, Amber, your speech must have been incredible. And obviously he saw where you were going to be going all the way to MIT, I know now. So I'm really glad to see you on this Zoom. And really honored to be with you all. And honored to be able to ask some questions to my dear friend, the former mayor of Stockton, Mr. Michael Tubbs. Yeah, I see some connections to Indian dads too. So Amber referenced this, but I've been reading Mr. Tubbs's book, Deeper the Roots. I have this here. It might disappear with my background. And Mr. Tubbs, I know that you have served in lots of roles. Mayor of Stockton, founder of Mayors for a Guaranteed Income, Reinvent Stockton Foundation, Reinvent South Stockton Coalition, founder of the Phoenix Scholars, now senior advisor on economic opportunity to Governor Newsom, also partner, dad, son, brother. I would love to just hear first, what in all of those roles, what are the problems you're trying to solve? And how are you using your time to kind of make the world a more just place?
Well, first, let me just say to the students, both Amber and Lange are very clear examples about what I think has been my secret sauce to success, if you will, which is the power of relationships, that the folks you're meeting in your NEST program, the mentors you have, the folks you're meeting in school, etc., you have no idea who they'll be 10, 20 years from now. So I encourage you all not to look always vertically, but look horizontally in terms of building your tribe and building your teams of folks, in terms of people who are going to be there when you're an adult and can help you and put you on. And I would also say, in full disclosure, Luntao was the best man at my wedding. He's literally one of my best friends in the world. But it's very rare, especially since we're not elected anymore, that we've been able to have this sort of conversation. So I thank you, Jacob, and your team for putting us together. And thank you, Lange, for being so gracious with your time and having this conversation with me. And in terms of your actual question, I think for me, the problem I'm trying to solve is twofold. Number one, I truly believe that talent and intellect are universal and resources, opportunities are not. So really trying to solve the problem so that the problem of the fact that the outcomes we see in terms of who's less likely to have money, who's least likely to be educated, who's most likely to die a premature death, etc., that those outcomes are because of government policies, because of societal structures. And I am very driven to change those structures. I think in doing so, we'll see outcomes consistent with the triumphant tales we've heard today of the fact that no matter where you're from, whether you're from Salinas, I see you guys in Salinas Nest, or from Stockton, from wherever, that you're just as talented and just as smart as people otherwise, anywhere else. And maybe the difference in outcomes isn't because of intelligence, it isn't because of effort, but it's because of literal policies. So that's something that's animated my work since I was a young organizer planning protests as a 16-year-old, and continues to this day.
That's amazing. And I love that we started there. And that also pivots me to my next question. In your book, you talk a lot about, the first part of your life, high school, like getting yourself into IB classes and teaching yourself SAT prep in Maya Angelou Library, going to Stanford, obviously graduating, then coming back and running for city council. And particularly for this audience of current students, I'm just wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about what you think helped enable your success in high school and college. What kept you focused?
Well, really, I think just growing up in poverty and realizing that my mom and dad, because of some of the environments they were in, but also the choices they made at 17 years old, impacted the next 40 years of their lives. And I realized that there was something about high school, there was something about this time of life that it's not fair, but it was like, I do really well in this time of life, and it really sets me up for success after. But I think it was also having like a chip on my shoulder. And just growing up, and Amber knows this, growing up in a community like Stockton, even if no one tells you, you know what people think about people like you. You know what people expect from people like you. And for me, my mom had me as a teenager. She was in high school when she had me. My father's been in jail most of my life. So I knew that for me, people didn't see a mayor or didn't see an advisor to the governor. They saw a future prisoner. They saw a future criminal. They saw someone who had nothing to offer and contribute. And I think early on, I was just really driven to prove them wrong and really driven to show like, no, despite all this other stuff, if you give me a chance, I could do it. If you give me a shot, I can do it. And I think particularly for the high school students and the middle school students, what I wish someone had told me in middle school was that it's going to be hard. It's not fair. You're literally going to have to work twice as hard because there's literal barriers to access and opportunity. And you can always have a valid excuse not to succeed, particularly when you come from poverty, particularly when things are hard. You always have a valid excuse not to succeed. But if you dig deeper, and it's not fair, but if you dig deeper, find mentors work twice as hard, there's a whole world of opportunity that you don't even know exists. And I look back now and I'm like, I marvel at 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old me. Because I had no idea what the world was. I had no idea what I would be able to do, but I just had an idea that there was something better. So I think it was that. And a lot of that came from like my mom, who wasn't educated. And she never told me I was better than anybody, but she always told me I was just as good as anyone else. It was never you're better, but it was like, no. You're not better, but no one's better than you. And you are just as good as everyone else. And what I expect for you is your best. I expect for you to exhaust all the talent you have. I think that also served me well as well.
And I know you talk a lot about your moms, your three moms, right? Your mom, Coco, your Nana, Ms. Barbara, and also your aunt, Tasha. I'm going to try to figure out if I can show photos of them because we love these books. I see at least two of them. So if you haven't read the book yet, you should. They also have some great photos of, one great photo of me, I'll say. But there are some other things that you should read in it. But going on to that, I recognize that in your book, you mentioned that during a study abroad program in South Africa, you saw examples of putting purpose to privilege. And referencing an Italian theorist, Gramsci, you learned about using your elite education at Stanford, right, to help address the struggles of a community that someone comes from. So I'm curious about how you have aimed to put purpose to privilege in your life, and what advice you would have, particularly to folks at the beginning of their careers in tech, because I know that in tech, folks may access a lot of privilege, and any advice you might have for folks in that part of their life.
And survivor skills is you come from the experience, or you come from a set of experiences, or you share an identity with folks who may not have as much opportunity as you. That feeling of feel guilty about it, feeling bad about it, that's a real feeling. And what I try to talk about in the book is that feeling in of itself doesn't change anything. And that feeling in of itself is very inwardly focused and very ego focused. And so when I talk about putting purpose to privilege, the idea is to acknowledge that, so this is what happens, particularly in this country. It's very seductive when you're the first or the only or the youngest, or it's very seductive to think there's something special about you compared to everyone else. So when you're the first one in your family to go to college, or you're the only woman in the room, or the only Latino person in the room, or the first Black this. And I realized when it comes like that work is valid, and you're smart and you're brilliant, but let's be very clear, your intelligence and brilliance alone didn't get you there. And that the only reason why you're able to occupy these positions and these places of privilege is because someone thought of you without knowing you. Someone came before you and laid the groundwork. And as a future ancestor, but also as a contemporary, I think you have a responsibility to do something with that privilege. And I think what you have to do is open the door for other people to come around you. Vice President Kamala Harris told me after I was elected mayor of Stockton, she said, "You're the first Black mayor of Stockton, but it'd be a tragedy if you're the last." So when you're the first and the only, but not for long, and that should be your North Star. And I also think that when you are in these rooms, it's not enough to be in those rooms and take up space. Like you have to be someone put it this way: you have to be a thermostat and not a thermometer. Meaning that thermometer reflects the temperature in the room. It just tells you this is the temperature. But a thermostat changes the temperature. And when you come from where we come from, you got to be in these rooms. The room should be different because you're there. The conversation should be different. The questions should be different because you're in the room. Because if not, what's the point? It's not enough just for you to be in. That's not what we're about. But our thesis is that getting you in the room brings your cousins, all of them in the room with you. And that creates more access, more opportunity, and puts us on a path to a more equitable society.
That's beautiful. I think that is a good transition actually to asking you to talk a little bit about the work that you're doing now. So Amber I mentioned that you now serve as the founder of Ending Poverty in California, EPIC. And I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind talking about what that is and what you think it'll truly take to end poverty in California.
After losing re-election for mayor of Stockton, I decided that let me backtrack. I think particularly when you're successful, it's really easy to point to like what you're willing to win for. But what I've learned and I'm gonna answer your question in long way, Lange. But what I learned in the past couple of years, that's very important to be very clear. What are you willing to lose for? What are you willing to fight for? What are you willing to disagree with people for? What are you willing to be ridiculed for, talked about for, lied on for? Like, what is that? What are you willing to lose for? And that's a very different question than what you're willing to win for. And I realized after losing re-election that I was really willing to lose and lay it all on the line for poverty, to end poverty, to have a conversation about structural violence and avoidable human needs. So to that end, we started a group, Mayors for Guaranteed Income, working with like 80 mayors across the country, running 35 pilots to pilot like a universal basic income as a way to end poverty. And then this year launched End Poverty in California, which is really about the fact that California is the 5th largest economy in the world, has more billionaires than every other country on earth, except China and the United States, and has the highest poverty rate per capita. And really to call the question and say that Michael Tubbs is not alone. Michael Tubbs, and Amber's a great example of this, is not the only kid from Franklin High School with something to offer to the world. That there's a whole bunch of folks who have so much intelligence and so much potential who are locked out of opportunity because of poverty, and we have the means to end it. So my goal is to get on everyone's nerves over the next several years, talking about poverty, 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 until we build the political will to actually end it, because we can end it. And I would argue COVID-19 has made it very clear that we must, or we'll be in a very, very vulnerable position in the next pandemic or the next.
I love that. And if you've ever spent any time in a meeting with Mr. Tubbs or working on a project with him, you'll know that he will blow up your phone until you do what you need to do. He'll blow up your phone, your inbox, your email inbox, your like Facebook Messenger, until you make the decisions that he knows and you know that you need to make. So I know we're coming to the end of this part of the panel, but we will have time for Q&A. So I hope y'all are thinking about some Q&A, some questions that you might want to ask. I'm particularly looking at those folks in the Salinas Nest, because if you have showed up in person, that means that you are probably, your brain juices are flowing today. So I hope that we can ask some questions in a second. But before we move to that, I do want to just ask like a question to you about growth, because I think that what I've heard is that this entire digital Nest flight is about like professional development and growth. And in your book, you talk about how you've grown in a lot of ways. Some of the folks on this call may know that I am queer. I identify as a gay man. Mr. Tubbs is not, unfortunately, but we can't all be perfect. And
they said unfortunately because you like liked me or something. No, that's a terrible
no,
joke.
I
I'm
don't,
sorry.
no. Just because you can't be perfect. Mr. Michael has an amazing wife named Anna. I think he really married up. He has 2 beautiful kids, Michael Malachi and Nehemiah. But you talk in your book about how you did in college, like grow in your understanding of LGBT plus rights. And whereas in high school, you might not have identified as an ally, like you were kind of confronted to change in some ways in college. So I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind talking about how that happened, or how you changed and like kind of embraced personal growth in college or other moments of your life.
No, first of all, Lange, my joke was terrible, but I do appreciate the question. And I will treat it with the seriousness it deserves. And I think when you grow up in a community like Stockton, there's a lot of great things that come from it, but there's also a lot of baggage. Like, particularly I was like a child preacher, so I grew up in a very sort of Pentecostal, fundamentalist, literalist Christian household, where sort of a lot of views, although progressive on some ways, weren't progressive in others. And especially the high school we went to, I think Amber could attest to this, there weren't even a lot of outwardly or openly gay students, right? Like and the ones that were like openly gay were like, oh, they were like so exoticized than others. As just a way different way, like they're not just queer, they're so different. It's just a different thing we don't have to engage with. So it wasn't until I went to college where sort of gay identity wasn't at the margins, but was really part of the college experience, and people were talking about it. It was also when gay marriage was on the ballot in California, and sort of learning from my gay friends or my non-gay friends about like just the bigotry I had, and learning about sort of gay rights and the gay struggle really opened my eyes. And I'm so thankful for that, because I think, particularly in this moment, we're so quick to counsel people without giving people the opportunity to learn and to grow and to develop. Like no one comes out fully understand. And it's not people's faults. We live in a society that's racist, that's sexist, that's homophobic, that's ableist, that's transphobic. That's all the isms and all the bad isms and all the icks, obits, I should say. And it takes time to unlearn and and we have to give people the opportunity. Like, it's one thing if someone knows and they actively choose, but it's another thing when folks just haven't been exposed or haven't grappled with. So I'm thankful for sort of my growth on that issue, my growth on the death penalty, my growth on my growth on marijuana legalization, all happened while in college, where I was confronted with new facts, with people who knew more than me and people who really challenged my beliefs. So I'm thankful for the dexterity of mind to not get defensive and not to hold on to these biases as part of my identity, but really learning like that's part of what I was taught, but that's like who I am. And I'm open and malleable to change. So thankful for that. And still learning on all the issues all the time. Because I think, again, we all have to consciously unlearn what we're taught from this sick society that we're in.
I love that. So the last question I have is just, is there another way in which you are like trying to grow and like trying to develop yourself now at the age of what, 31 now?
Don't do that at the age of, that sounds crazy. I think for me, I'm trying to get into like mindfulness. It's almost cuss. I'm trying to get into mindfulness and meditation. Like, J. Cole is my favorite rapper. 2 albums ago, we had a whole song called Meditate. So I'm trying to get into meditation, trying to get into mindfulness, trying to just be kinder to myself and my body, get into rest as a practice, trying to work out more, all the things to make me just a better person.
I have seen your Instagram lives from Peloton, so I love that. I support that. I think that is a great move. All right, well, thank you, Michael, for talking with me about these questions. When you are on a panel with your best friend, you get to ask the questions that you wouldn't otherwise ask. So I had to throw in one about LGBT rights. But I think it's perfect timing for us to start answering some questions in the chat. And I see one already. So you can either put your questions in the chat. If you'd like me to read them, then I will, or you can raise your hand and then we'll call on some people. But I would love to hear other people's voices. I think that would be great. So in the meantime, I will ask this first question that is in the chat. And it is, was it different connecting with people for you back then? I assume like in college or as you were developing your career, as you're starting your career, given a new day and age of technology connections, what would you say is different? What would you say is the same in terms of, and maybe I wonder if you could talk about like how you networked and built relationships horizontally, but also up. I know you built relationships with Oprah, Valerie Jarrett, things like that.
Yeah, no, I think that it was, I think this is gonna sound extra. I think the biggest difference is that the tables have turned in a way. Now I have to be mindful, like, do people want something from you? Not that much to give, but it's always like what they want. But back then it was just so pure. It was like, you have good vibes, or I want to learn from you, or let's work on something together. But in terms of my friends, it's like, oh, I think you're dope. I don't know anything about you. You seem like a nice person. And now I have to be more calculated because time is such a limited capacity. I have a wife, I have 2 kids, I have like 6 jobs. Like, it's a lot happening. So it's like every engagement I have to think about, do I want this to be an entanglement? No. Do I want this to be long-term engagement, or just gonna be one-off? But I think back then it was just pure, because even then I didn't have like already need this. It's like some 9-year-old kid trying to figure out, let's kick it. Let's go watch this movie. Let's go do this, let's go do that. So I'm still trying to incorporate some of that with like a little more intention around. I think the biggest difference is now I know I'm a better read of the type of people I want to bring in. So I think one of my weaknesses is that I want to be close with it. I want to bring everyone in. And learning now, like, now your energy, your time is precious. So like now the idea of who deserves that from me, who do I want to actually be in a relationship with that's long term, that's peaks and valleys and growth. So I'm not sure if I answered your question, but that's my answer.
You did, and I really appreciate that. And I will also just add on, just so folks know, like I think you pinpointed a really interesting difference between like building relationships horizontally, right, with your peers when you are young, or just in some cohort, and then also building relationships with other people, your mentors that you might be able to learn from. One very famous relationship you built in college was with this guy named Evan, who was, I know, on your study abroad program in South Africa. You can read the story if you read the book, if you check it out from the library. And would you like to share with the audience, like he ended up starting the startup and then going off and like making a lot of money. Would you like to share with the audience like what the name of the startup was? You want me to?
No, so one of my good friends I met in college is the founder of Snapchat, the app. And we met before he founded Snapchat, and we met in South Africa, like going out and doing service. And we just really vibed and liked each other. I had no idea who he was. I had no idea he was building Snapchat. And that relationship created the Stock the Scholars program. So even tonight while we're talking, we have our big college signing day where we're giving 1,300 scholarships to students at Stockton. And it's beautiful just from building a relationship with someone who is so different from me, who on paper looks like, wow, how would they get along? So I think that's been sort of one of my other superpowers, as I mentioned earlier, has been building relationships with folks like Evan, like with you, like with people who have really helped sort of me grow and help propel some of the ideas I care about forward.
For real. I see a couple more questions in the chat. I wonder if maybe someone from the Salinas Nest would be willing to ask a question verbally, or is it Shitlali or Yasmin?
Yeah, I don't mind asking mine. Hello, appreciate you being here, Michael. So we work with youth, and we come across a lot of folks who are still trying to figure out where to go, what their path is. And I am curious if you have a piece of advice for youth or young adults who are still trying to figure it out, trying to figure out what their path is.
Yeah, I think that, try not to be long-winded with this answer. So I think it's a couple things, right? I think number one, it's everything makes sense looking backwards, but not looking forward. So you have to treat the opportunities in front of you as preparation for whatever the thing is. So I would say be consistently excellent and try to learn skills from wherever you are, because that will serve you well in whatever's next. Then number two, I think for me, it was apparent to me in college where I felt most alive, where I felt most like, when I felt like total alignment. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This makes me happy. This is a good use of my time, and I'm good at it. I'm learning from it, even when it's a terrible day. And it ended up being like working with people to try to get things done. I just have always enjoyed that. And I think even like in third grade, I always liked to be the captain when we were picking teams, even for sports I sucked at, because I could always figure out, okay, what's the best team to get to a goal? And I think looking back now, it's like, oh wow. So I think it's that, and I think oftentimes it can be so paralyzing because we're not fortune tellers. We can't see the future, so it can be so paralyzing, particularly as a young person, when you have all these people who look like they have everything figured out, to think that, what am I supposed to do? Like, and you're not gonna know. You only discover. I believe you discover a purpose by doing it iteratively. So do something. Take advantage of the thing right in front of you, or the thing you think you're interested in, and you have to try. You can't be afraid to fail. I think we also have this idea that the thing you're supposed to do means you're going to win all the time. Like, no, I literally lost re-election, right? Like, I was like easy, it was hard, but that hasn't dissuaded me from what I think it is I'm supposed to be doing. But I think a lot of it just came from experiences as a young person, learning, failing. And I would also say, my grandma taught me this scripture growing up about don't despise small beginnings. And the idea being that at the small level where no one's watching you, where it looks unimportant, you develop the skills and the character so that when you expound and when you grow, you're prepared. And another scripture she taught me was that you've been faithful over few things, so I'll make you ruler over many. Meaning that You have to start small. You have to start something. If you're thankful with that, then you'll get the promotion or the increase, and then you'll be ready for it. But you have to do. It's not. You're not going to sit down one day. You're not Isaac Newton. You're not going to be sitting down and the apple's not going to fall on your head and then you discover gravity. It's actually going to be much more hands-on than that. So I'll say be open, find mentors, and try, iterate, and grow, but be consistent about being excellent and be consistent about doing your best and be consistent about being a good person. And then what is you're supposed to do, I think, will become more apparent.
Thank you. And thank you for asking that question. I see some more questions in the chat. Anyone else willing to ask it verbally? I think it makes it more engaging. Maybe Yasmin or Nicole or Audrey's or someone from the Salinas Nest.
Hi, folks. So nice to be here. I'm Audris. And Michael, I'm curious about your conversation on your energy, your perseverance, your grit, right? All of those things are very extroverted with how you engage in the world. Can you share with us how you would encourage introverts? I mean, what you were talking about just now, doing your best, taking care of the little things, but for introverts, that can be a real challenge as well. What would you recommend, or how would you speak to them? Thank you. I'll take this off camera.
Yeah, me too. The internet's being weird again. But no, I appreciate the question because as you rightly pointed out, I'm probably the furthest thing from an introvert, and have probably at the extreme of extroversion. But I think sort of introverts occupy a very special place because in having time for introspection and being oftentimes more thoughtful and sort of being more solitary, at least in terms.
I think he may have dropped out for a moment, but I'm sure Michael will come back.
Yeah, my internet was being introverted, but no, I was saying that, and I think there's a lot to glean from that. Like that's a strength as well, and I think the strength comes from the ability to look and to analyze and to process. And I would say for introverts, sort of finding things that kind of play on your strengths and don't put you in positions where you're uncomfortable or which are draining for you. But there's a lot of roles, particularly in our society today, that require that introspection, that require sort of that in-gathering process of information that are important. And that's a long way to filibuster and say, I don't know, child, I'm not an introvert, but I know that there's a role for introverts in our community. And I think it's a real strength, just like being extroverted, it's a strength sometimes it's.
I love that. I love that. There are maybe some other questions. Why don't I ask one in the chat first? I hear this question of, on the topic of figuring out what to do as a career, what are some similar strategies that people who won't attend college can do to get their career or field of interest started? Do you have thoughts on that, Michael?
I think whether you attend college or not, you have to have a skill. Like you have to have like some experience, some training, some sort of certification, something. You can't just live off vibes. So I think in the same way, whether it's college or a certification or a program like Digital Nest or a Code Stack or beautician school, barber school. I mean, we gave trade school scholarships when we were in South Lange. I think all paths are, I think what we say to kids all the time, we're not saying you have to go to college, we're saying you have to go somewhere. You have to learn something. You have to do something to contribute to our society. So I think the same way that college is great, but if it's not your vibe, fine, but find something that is. But there is a path that requires some level of specification, some level of experience, and some level of training. Like you're not just going to graduate high school and be ready to do anything. You have to do something after that, whether it's college, community college, or a certification program. I'm agnostic, but you have to do something.
Yep, agreed. We're going to go on to the next question, but while we're doing that, I'm just going to say it's awkward for my face to be the only face. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screen share this photo I was mentioning of Michael and me at his wedding, actually, his and Anna's wedding in Cartagena. And I will just say one thing that is a thing to think about in your life is if you befriend the right people, you will get to a stage in your life where all your friends are like releasing all their books, and you will think that you have the power to like influence the photos that they choose in their books, and you do not. So in this case, Michael chose a photo where he looks great, and I look like a very pale white dude in a Ghanaian outfit, which I think the outfit is nice, but I just like that is a good networking. Maybe
How
you
you
should
gonna blame me? Like, I didn't take the picture, I didn't pose you, I didn't stage you. The camera doesn't lie. The camera only takes what it sees. So your issues with yourself, young man, and not with me and my picture selection.
I see you're on. I also see Donna has her hand raised. Their hand raised.
Hi, I wanted to ask a question, if that's okay.
Please.
Yeah, so Michael, I wanted to ask, like, what would your advice be to someone who is like a mom, who is an immigrant on a work permit? Like for me, I'm transitioning into UX from fashion design, and it's been a challenge now since I have like started my job search journey. It's like one hurdle after the other. Oh, you're a mom. Oh, you are on a work permit. Oh, like when will your green card arrive? Or, like, oh, you have a sabbatical. So it's like there's so much negativity like around like my interviews. How do you overcome that? Like what would be your advice? Just wanted to ask that.
Yeah, well, first I would say as a father, and this is not just because Mother Day is coming up, but like mothering is the toughest job. I just think mothers can do anything. Like literally, just watching mothers, like my wife and her friend, like it can this world up. So I would take solace in that. And I think sort of, and don't have the same experience, but I know oftentimes being the youngest or the first or the only, I just learned to expect microaggressions, expect lower expectations, expect extra barriers, but to never accept it. Like never think it's okay. Never think that's just the way it is, but know that it's coming and prepare accordingly and think about sort of how do you overcome these barriers that exist. So don't be surprised by them, but also never accept like this is okay. But always know that it's wrong and then when I think for me a big key has been finding mentors and finding folks who more different privilege or different experiences who can help me navigate and traverse through. And I mean, that's probably not the best answer, but that's like my honest answer in terms of sort of what you experience. But I can only imagine how difficult it is to transition from another country to here, transition careers, and still have this added responsibility of like growing a good human, which is like the most important job in society. So I can only imagine the frustration, but I think sort of with your skills and obvious intellect and the right mentors, the right opportunity will appear. Which doesn't say anything about time, which is how long it takes, but I do believe it's out there.
Thank you, Mike.
Good. So I know we're nearing the end of our conversation, and I see a couple questions, both from the Salinas Nest and then I think from Amaris about challenges. And in general, I'm seeing, what has been the biggest challenge in your career and how did you overcome it? And or, have you ever experienced a rut in your career and what helped you get out of it? I'm curious if you have thoughts on that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think, and you know this well, I think challenges for me, I just like question. Because I mean, everything's a challenge. Like literally, I was a mayor of a city of 315,000 people as a 26-year-old with the father still in prison, right? So like everything up to that point, hell, you think a letter of recommendation for college was a challenge. like finding how to apply to college with it. Like it's always like going to school hungry and taking SAT prep, like saving lunch money to buy SAT prep books and not eating lunch so I could study for the SAT was a challenge. So I think everything's been challenging up to a point. And what's the second half of the question?
Well, like, and I think the second half was, did you ever experience a rut in your career and how did you get out of it? And I actually have a thought there
you know, I'm not good at seeing challenges and stuff. I'm like, oh, that was so like help me answer the question, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, I won't name the employer or I won't name the university, right? But I remember that you and I have had bad jobs. And I remember.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you for that. I see, and that's the other thing. I'm also like an extreme optimist sometimes. So I just like ignore all the bad stuff. Oh, it wasn't that bad. No, I had a terrible first job after college. I had a terrible first job. It felt like more politics at City Hall. I was just angry and stressed and unhappy. Like I had people who didn't supervise me but thought they did. I didn't know how to open the flash drive. It was like, you didn't send me this. I'm like, no, it's on the flash drive. And I think how I got out of that was really trusting that, because it was like a cozy job. It's a university job. No one gets fired from university jobs, which is why it was such a terrible place to work. But having the courage to say, you know what, I don't like, this is not the best use of my time and talent. I have to find something else. So I think in that instance, that rut was around just leaving what was comfortable for something less certain, which was teaching high schoolers, which is also just crazy. But I loved it so much more than working with adults at the university. And that's just me. That's just how I'm wired. And I also think another rut was, I mean, governing is a rut. Like governing in a place like Stockton, we were perpetually in a rut. And I think what sustained me was my faith, friends and partners in a work like Lange, and like a North Star around this is what we're trying to get to. So let's figure out ways to work around all the things I hate to get to where we need to go.
That's powerful. So I think we've come to the last question, and I'm gonna read it from Yasmin because I think it's a powerful one. And the question is, I'm curious when or how you think knowing about your societal or structural disadvantages or challenges becomes a motivator rather than a barrier or rather than something that you deny.
Yeah, I coined a term for this actually. I call it upset the setup. And for me, it was a motivator because my mom, she would always be like, well, look, this is what they think. Are they right or are they wrong? Like she always put it as a challenge. I think for me, it was almost like gamification of structural issues. Like now all this is true. Like all these things are real, but can you beat it? Like ultimate boss level, can you do it? And I think now when I taught, I used to talk about like upsetting the setup and first acknowledging that the setup is real, that there are structural barriers to success and to resources and to opportunities that create the world we live in. But also that structure doesn't have the last word. Like structure is real, but agency is also real. That like my favorite Tupac poem, The Rose That Grew from Concrete. Like roses aren't supposed to grow from concrete, but until roses grow from rose bushes, roses will and can and have to grow from concrete. And I think that's always been my mentality. Like just really said, like, let's just not fair. Like, I work 3 times as hard. Like I don't like this. It's not fun. But this is what is necessary. And then when I make it, I'm going to try to change it. And that's really the animus behind all the work I do. It's a clear-eyed view of, no, we're not going to tell everyone to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And that's going to be just let everyone else off the hook. We're not going to blame these babies for the society they created. But these babies will have to work and work hard because they're worth more than the deplorable conditions and environments we put them in. But they'll also know that's not their fault. And they also know that part of being successful is figuring out how do we dismantle this so the next generation doesn't have to do this as much work as you did. Like I would be a failure if my son had to not eat lunch to get SAT prep books. And that'd be such a dereliction of duty on my part. And the idea is like, not just for my son, but for all kids, and my daughter as well, how do we change the structure so that what we experience in this generation isn't passed on like a terrible heirloom to the next?
Wow, that is a powerful sentiment upon which to end. I just want to say thank you, Michael, for joining me on this call. Thank you, Amber, for the wonderful and kind introduction, and everyone who asked a question, and Jacob for including us and being persistent and making sure that we both get on this call. and your team at Digital Nest. Before I do round out, because we have 3 Stocktonians on the call, I have the honor of making an announcement. Jacob asked me to share this. I know that he announced it via email today, but drum roll, please. It is an honor for me to share that Digital Nest is coming to Stockton. In this next year, thanks to Jacob's leadership and the great work of Digital Nest will be expanding into Stockton in the Central Valley. And I know that they have great aspirations and hopes to really expand statewide and hopefully across the country someday. So I just want to say, as a Stocktonian, I am just so honored and grateful for your leadership and for your continuing focus on serving more young people, serving more students throughout our state. So thank you, Jacob, and we look forward to working with y'all in Stockton.
Yeah, thank you all for being here and sharing this wonderful moment for all of us. With all of us, it's we're making history. I'm so excited from the first time I set foot in Stockton, just seeing the brilliance that exists in that community and the energy. And I was just there talking with youth the other day, and one of the youth said that they were honored that we were thinking about coming to Stockton, and that if anybody could do it, Stockton youth can do it, and they believe in themselves, and we believe in them. And we're just so thrilled. And thank you all for being here. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Lange. Thank you, Amber, for sharing this special moment with all of us.
Awesome. I think it's my turn. So I'll just quickly say, Lange, Michael, again, thank you both so much for being here. We know how busy life can get. And so we really appreciate you sharing your knowledge, your hearts, your stories here with the amazing folks at Nest Flight. I think for me, I just get so excited about being able to share our stories, because for all of you that are here on this call, you know, this can and will be you in some way today. And for me, what I really took away from all of this, from the people that asked questions, from Michael, from Lange, and just knowing our lives and kind of the trajectory that they have taken, it really is in those brave spaces that we learn and we grow so much. And so for those of you, like the previous question that was currently asked, when you're in your brave space, whether you're the first one in your family pursuing a undergrad, whether you're transitioning to a new sector, whether you're taking time off to pursue a passion project, whatever your brave space looks like today, please know that this community is here for you and that we are rooting for you. This is what these spaces are, because we truly believe in the powers of our communities.